Yeah, so gear choices for something like this are obviously fairly critical, and if you're a guy like me, Mike generally goes on a bit more experience and instinct. I'm still figuring this out from an OCD fashion. But you're gonna be prepared for really long days out on the bike, so you've got to carry clothing with you that you're going to be able to certainly when April comes around and may get a bit cold. If you're going to plan to travel out in the evenings and you'll be late, so you're going to have warm weather stuff, arm warmers, leg warmers. You're probably going to need some rain gear. A good lightweight rain jacket is probably invaluable. And would you take pants, Mike?
Yeah, I would always take rain pants.
Yeah.
No, but I would certainly take tights to keep warm. I mean, a raincoat, as you say, is the most valuable piece of equipment you can have in your thing. Even if you're not going to get rained on, it's a final layer to keep your warmth in and keep the wind off of you if you end up going to ground and trying to sleep overnight.
Yeah, and that's right. If it gets really cold, you've always got your rain jacket to put on. Just really sweat to death. That's where it goes.
In terms of bike choice, I ride a hardtail. Why do I ride a hardtail? Because it's the bike I own. Would I recommend it to other people? Probably not. I mean, you're probably better off with a full suspension bike. If you've got a gravel bike, you can ride it, if you're comfortable with it. Personally, I couldn't ride a gravel bike, not with a rigid fork. I think that would just destroy my hands, which are already a little bit trashed. But I think you could do this on anything but a unicycle, maybe. Except you could probably portage with a unicycle a bit better. But I mean, bike choice is personal. I mean, if people say to me, what's the right bike? I say the one you own. Unless you really want to go out and buy a bike for a 5-day event. It's what you're comfortable with.
So you rode a hardtail, I rode a full sus, and that was pretty good.
And they both work, And then it comes to, do you take a backpack or do you put it on your bike?
And I had a bit of both, but put most of my weight on my bike. And I did battle though up on the portages. It was quite heavy to get to carry that bike up. So that's the one trade-off you're going to have to make. Wobble bag, which is a seat bag, or put stuff in your backpack. I think that you can probably get by the portages and not have to carry a very big backpack the whole time for those few sections that you portage.
So we had a completely different. You had your water on your back. I had my water on my bike, and I had my kit on my back, and you had your kit on your bike. So there's no right or wrong way. It's the way you're comfortable with. What you've got to be able to do though is pick it up. If you can't pick your bike up and put it over a fence or just portage up the occasional cliff face, you've got a problem.
So that's a good point. You've got to be able to pick your bike up over a fence.
You've got to be able to lift it at least chest high.
That's a good point. And anything that relates to water, you're going to get your bike wet. So you've got to have lube. You've got to make sure that your lights and the stuff that's on your bike is all waterproof. That your phone is not going to fall out the first time you pick it up and you're going to lose in the river, because that would be poor.
Make sure you put your pump on the right side so when you pick your bike up it doesn't dig into your back. I've made that mistake once.
And lights.
Lights, you've got various options. I mean, you could go with extreme lights, battery operated lights. I used a hub this time. I'm thinking, if I raced it, would I use a hub or would I use lights? Lights will give me 3 nights if I've got battery lights. You can't be guaranteed you'll be able to charge them en route. In the remote areas that we go in, they don't have electricity in places. Some of them have got like solar backup, but that's not 100% reliable. You're not going to like it if you're sitting there with no lights at all. I mean, that's going to be the end of your day when the sun goes down. So, I mean, you lost your light. So, managed to ride it with a headlight, so that can be done. So I go with the battery headlight. Is yours a rechargeable or not?
No, I use disposables.
Disposables. Okay, I use disposable batteries as well. So I make sure I take batteries that will last me a couple of nights. I mean, I use lithium batteries, good long life, to get 2 nights out of that per thing. Lights are critical. You've got to do that. Water, how much?
So just on lights. So you had a little headlight to use when you were walking around camp. Especially if guys are going to do, if you're going to do the 400, you're going to want a light to walk around some of those. Some of the shallows we sleep at. Then you had the one on your helmet. Disposable batteries are a great idea, so at least you know that you can carry quite a few sets and you're not going to get caught out if there's no power.
And we both had the ones where you put the pack in your back pocket. So you've got an extension onto your light, so you don't have battery sitting on your head just tiring you out for those long days.
And then you had a light on your bike.
I had a bike light, which was driven from my dyno hub.
And the race rules are you've got to have 2 front lights and 2 independently powered rear lights as well. Which I think the rear light rule, we're not from a safety perspective, it's a good idea.
Yeah,
some of those roads, there's traffic on them, so that's I think that's sound advice.
Yeah.
And what spares did you carry with you?
Spares is the typical runner things, brake pads, and I think we found out you needed brake pads because
a lot of mud, a lot of downhill, so you're going to use your brake pads.
Brake pads. I take a shifter cable, always. I take 4 or 5 ways to fix a puncture. Now that's up to you. You can take a patch kit, you can take worms, you can take a needle and thread, you can take extra slime to put in there, you can take extra tubes if you want. I don't think you need to take a spare tire.
But probably we didn't have one puncture to stop with.
We didn't have one puncture, and I think that is the thing. Don't go light.
Yeah.
Be practical. Go for a slightly heavier tire with better sidewalls.
And put slime.
And make sure you've got slime in them. I mean, other people say don't carry spare slime, put it all in your tire. I like to carry a spare tube of slime, and it comes in handy. And then you've got your worms and all that stuff for fixing that. Apart from that, jockey wheels. I carry a spare set of jockey wheels. You get in the mud, you can trash a set of jockey wheels on this trail. I've done that before. They just seize up and die. And obviously a way to break and fix your chain in a small piece. I mean, that's... I mean, do you carry spokes? I mean, I've seen people carry spokes. Yeah. I don't know how many people know how to fit a spoke.
No, I don't.
Or get a cassette off to put the spoke in. You know?
No idea how to fit a spoke.
So, do you really need that? I don't think so.
No. But overall, aside from the technical, some of the very fast technical descents, which you have a choice to go down more slowly or more conservatively rather, the trail itself is not going to break your bike.
No.
Unless you toss it off a cliff, which would be a poor outcome.
Well, mine did fall over and hit a rock. It could have cracked it. So that didn't happen.
And then probably one of the harder things in this race, or one of the things you need to be more thoughtful about, is going to be nutrition, and making sure that you're fueling yourself properly and stopping at the spaza shops, and because that's quite different in this format, right?
It's very different, and I'm not about to prescribe to anybody what's right for them. Yeah. I survive on Coke. Mostly you didn't see me eat much. No, I mean, so I drink a lot of Coke, and I never drink Coke off the bike. So on the race, that's my fuel of choice. It's just the easiest to digest and get into my system. Apart from that, I mean, other guys will be eating 2 burgers, and I'll eat 1. But that's a personal thing. So you've got to work out what works for you. But make sure you've got stuff in your bag, because you can't rely on spaza shops to be open.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure you're always carrying a little bit too much, which comes back to the dehydration. How much do you take? I mean, I was carrying 3 liters of water and sometimes 2 bottles of Coke. So 4. Was that enough? It was more than enough. I think there were always 2 bottles on my bike.
Yeah.
So I never ran out. But you can't afford to run out of water.
Yeah. So we ended up stopping at a Pick and Pay in Matat. We resupplied there and in Matatiel, and we've got there's steers there as well, which we know about. And then pretty much every village that we went through, we just asked for spaza, and we found a spaza shop. Yeah. Someone would point us to a spaza shop that would have had, it's got packets of chips and Cokes. So certainly, our learning on this route is that if you find proper food, get lots of it. Take Ziploc bags, put in your backpack.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you get to a support station, you can take food, buy food there, take it with you. Because a spaza shop, you can't live on knickknacks. Eh?
Yeah, you can try.
You can try, yeah.
And you'll find Coke and the best treat, of course, were the ice lollies.
Ice lollies. Now there's a thing we learned today, right? If you want to keep your Camelback or your bottle cold, you buy those little ice sticks and you throw them in there and then fill it up with water. So that's just something we learned today. So that can work. Yeah. And you can get those little ice lollies everywhere, which is a good point. We were talking about it on the ride today. That when you're riding along, when you start seeing lots of litter, then there's probably a spaza shop around.
Yeah.
If there's no litter, there's probably no spaza shop.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's
and if someone's carrying a frozen ice lolly, there's a freezer nearby.
Yeah, absolutely. They've come from the one very close. Because I mean, any time along the way, did you feel unsafe at all?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Probably, personally myself not. Mm-hmm. I think we can accept that you're going to have people wanting to ride in pairs, which the race rules allow. So certainly that's a great way to ride. Yeah. It's pretty remote out there, right? I mean, there were a couple of times when I was at the back and you're thinking, wow, this is beautiful, but you are feeling alone. So certainly riding in pairs is great. It's not unsafe if you practice sort of common sense behaviour. you know, if you're going to stop for a nature break, don't stop where there's 20 people. You know, avoid taverns in particular, and you know, just generally be polite to people, say hello, wave at them.
Yeah.
And yeah, probably the only thing we had was a couple of dogs chase us every now and then, which, you know, a good old, you know, a good shout at the dog. And what's the best way to get a dog to heel, Mike?
I don't know, but what I do know is they don't speak Joburg, right? Yeah, so yeah, just be aware of dogs and the occasional cow.
Yeah.
But I mean, cows are fine. Dogs, they're just doing their thing. Don't overreact. Just be vigilant. Some of them will get close, but you can fall off your bike if you try and get too excited about it. But the dogs are there and they bark. But as a rule, our dogs out here are far better than the dogs in the city.
Yeah.
You know, the ones around where we ride our bikes, just outside Joburg, they scare me more than
So dogs shouldn't be a problem. And you know, if you're going to camp where you can't see too many lights, where there aren't people directly around you.
And the thing about
and
camping,
there's lots of places.
Yeah, I mean, you don't set up camp before it gets dark. You know, you get your stuff ready, and then as it's getting dark, you move somewhere so no one's seeing you settling down.
Yeah,
I mean, that's important.
That's good advice.
Yeah, and then make sure you know where your stuff is. Try minimize your use of your light. Stop, have some dinner, move on, go to bed. Yeah. Don't be obvious, because people are curious. And as we found, we had some kids follow us up a mountain. I mean,
yeah,
they were curious.
And look, we do have the trail. What 400 odd k's nearly is existing Freedom Challenge trail. So people are accustomed to bikes.
Exactly. So they're used to seeing us there. There's a friendly wave. The thing to do is to be courteous when you come across people as well. I mean, whether it's a youngster or a herdsman or a farmer, you know, and if you get the chance, stop and talk to them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
Good manners go a long way.
Good manners go a very long way. Bad manners are just awful.
Yeah.
And the thing about when you get to a support station, don't ask if they've got ice and brandy and coke, and just accept the fact that this is very rural South Africa. And if you get given a scrawny chicken leg, and that's what it is, you know, they can't go to the local spa or the Checkers and go buy another frozen chicken. Yeah. I mean, they chase that thing around that morning to cut its head off and cook it for you. You know, that's the reality of these remote places.
And just if the locals are telling you you're going in the wrong direction?
Yes, I mean, how was that? I mean, we had a few guys over the last few days, you know, saying we're riding this way and they go like that. I mean, that's bizarre, right?
Very much. So you're following the worm and you're going the right way, and guys are saying go the opposite way.
Yeah. I mean,
so if that happens, do not listen to the local advice, because they're telling you to go on the Freedom Challenge trail. Exactly. And they're used to seeing cyclists going the other way.
Exactly. They've got 10 or 15 years experience of the bike going this way, and now all of a sudden someone's lost. Yeah. And so you trust your GPS, yeah. But the thing about a GPS, and I've seen it done in other races, you must have a sense of which way you're going when you get to a support station, or a village or a checkpoint, because you could come out and just ride the wrong way. And I've seen that happen before, and just start going down the Freedom the right way.
Yeah.
And your Garmin will probably tell you once or twice you're going the wrong way, and then it'll just give up.
So some good advice certainly is that you want to make sure you figure out the right GPS settings when you set off on this.
Yeah.
Because that could cause you a certain amount of angst.
Well, as I discovered, you know, I've done races like this, but we got to a point where I didn't trust the worm, and then my Garmin started giving me alternatives, and I didn't need alternatives. I needed to know where I was supposed to go, so I need to try and turn that function. It's the old thing. If you're going to go and have a DOS, the old rule: point your bike in the direction you will go, right? Before you. I mean, I've made that mistake. I've pointed my bike the wrong way, got up in the morning or after an hour's sleep, got my bike, looked down the trail and thought something looks wrong. And so if I'm traveling in this direction, I put my bike in that direction and then go to sleep. So when I wake up, I end up going the right way. And I've heard of some very experienced campaigners who have made that same mistake.
Yeah.
I've made that mistake. And after I've told other people to do that. So just, I mean, it's a silly thing, but really, when you wake up and your eyes are, your head is foggy and you can't really see, look at your bike and say, okay, I'm going there.
Sounds like hard-earned advice.
Yeah, no, well, I learned that the hard way.
Cool, so you guys definitely coming back in April?
Mike, we're going to see you in April?
Yeah, of course we're going to be back. I mean,
of course we are.
I mean, we're fresh off the bikes now, and you know, you might say it's too soon, but it's not too soon. I mean, we've had a good couple of days out there. I mean, there were times, like you say, where you have to renegotiate with yourself, and you set yourself. I mean, like any ride, you know, it's always, I'm never doing this again. You know, I had one or two of those moments where I thought, you know, why am I doing this? And then a few minutes later, you look around, you say, I know why I'm doing this, and I know why I'm going to come back and do it again and again and again. And certainly this race, I think it's appealing. I think that the combination of the 700 and the 400 gives opportunities for lots of different type of riders. And I think that if you choose wisely, you'll have a great experience. You know, if you're coming for comfort, do the small one. You know,
and it'll still be some great routes in the 400.
Yeah, I mean, I think
very challenging stuff.
Maybe you enter for the 700 and do the 500 and whatever sneak, and so you can add Black Fountain and that into the trail. I mean, just think about that. You're going to get Tanana, Black Fountain, Malakunyani, Imperani.
I think you're convincing the wrong person.
Queen's Mercy, the floodplains. You're going to get all of that thrown in. And all you've really cut out is 100 k's, and you can slow down a bit and enjoy it a little bit more. I don't know if that's going to be an option, but I think
and Mike, just on the trail, what are some of the more memorable parts of the Freedom Challenge that we're going to get to travel on the Freedom Circuit?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, before you've done any of this, you just hear names. You hear Black Fountain, Tanana, Vuvu Valley, Queen's Mercy, the Kanyera floodplain, the Taylorville single tracks, Insekeni, Politik. I mean, Centercow, the Donnybrook maneuver. I mean, they're just part of the legend of the race, and then you're going to be riding those.
And that's the attraction for this, right? Is you get to do all those ones you've mentioned.
Yeah.
You get to do them on the GPS route. I know when I started this format 2 years ago, coming down the Donnybrook maneuver into Centercow was some of the best riding, most sublime riding I'd ever done.
Yeah, and it's, you know, when we were riding along and we made our way onto the trail, the moment we hit the Freedom Trail, it just felt like home. I mean, and for that small piece, we were going in the right direction. We were going in the Freedom direction, and it was only about 10 k's. But it was magnificent and you familiar.
And you come through into Kenny, so you go through all that.
Yeah. I mean, and it's quite interesting doing it in reverse. It makes you think more. You know, because when you're riding down a jeep track and another one comes in from your left, when you're going in this direction, you don't really care. When you come the other way, now you've got this bit of figure. I think I made that mistake across the floodplain. After we went, we both went right and Chris went left.
Yeah.
I've never noticed there was a road there before. So I'm getting a bit of idea of what the layout of the land is.
Guys, thank you very much.
Let's just keep you busy.